guys, so in this video we're gonna be working on creating the gates. We're gonna work on creating the opening gate, and we're gonna create the art for the close gate as well. So in order to get started, we want to go right here where it says file, click on new. We want to make the size 32 by 32, advanced option, background color. Make sure you fill it with the background color because it's going to help us later on to see as we make the outlines. And for the background color we have white, so make sure that you have it there. Click OK, and now we get this little square. What you want to do is you want to zoom in until we get a decent size that we can work with. So go to your zoom tool and zoom in until you get something that you're happy with. In this case, this should be enough. So now that we have our canvas set up, the first thing we want to do is we want to add a layer, because we're not going to work on this background, we're going to work on separate layers from it. So if we make a mistake or we want to fix something, we may. So click on new layer. We want to keep it the same size and make sure that this time the layer is transparent. So layer fill type, make sure that you select transparency. And then we have first layer less selected, so just in case, so that we know that we're working on that layer. And there's many ways that we can do this arc that we're going to be working on. So this right here, there's many ways to do it. Specifically on this video, I want to go ahead and use the path tool simply because it's a nice tool, especially once you're tracing your concept art into GIMP. It's a very useful tool. So how we're going to do this, we're going to select the path tool. Once you look at your tool options, which may be floating as it is in my case, or it may be down here. I personally find it useful to take it outside simply because I can access it better, and with the dual monitor layout it's a lot easier once you put on the other side. So make sure you're in design and select the tool once again to make sure, and we're going to place 1 and 2. Get it to a position where you're happy with. And what we're going to do now is we are going to drag it more or less down the middle, and we're going to bring it up. And as you see, it starts making this curvature, almost looking like what we want. This is a little bit high on that side, so you may want to adjust it until you get it to a size that you like. And again, we're going to keep on bringing it up. So adjust it and get it. I'm going to make it almost all the way to the top. So that should be, oh, it went out of the way. That should be alright. So now we have something that looks like the arc we're hoping to get. And what you want to do now is you want to go into stroke path. So click there. And you get this nice dialog and stroke line, solid color. Make sure you uncheck anti-aliasing. Since we're working with a very small pixel count, 32 by 32, make sure that you make the line width 1 pixel and simply click stroke. And now we get our first arc. Now if you're not happy with it, you can always go back and modify our outlines until we get it right, but I think we're pretty good right now. However, if we look back at the original picture, we have this extra outline down here. We could also use the path tool to do it, but again, that would be a little bit overkill. So in this case, we're going to select the pencil tool, a new set of tool options, and what you're going to make sure is for the size, once again, is 1 pixel, because you don't want that outline to be too big. So we're going to click, left click right there, hold shift, and you see how we get this straight line at the bottom, and left click down there. And now we have our next setup. So we have our outlines. We could still modify them a little bit if you wanted to, if you're a little bit of a perfectionist. For now, we can leave it there. I think it's not going to be that noticeable, especially once you zoom out. For the actual tool in the game. So let's see how your players are going to view it. this should be about right. So the next step that we're missing is we want to fill in the color. So once again, let's click on the zoom tool and add it up. Okay. And you want to probably also go ahead and create a new layer just to be on the safe side. And one easy way to do it is we go back to the layer that has our outline down here, and let's use the magic wand tool to select just the interior. So I don't know if you guys can see it there on the video, but we have only selected the interior. We can select now the new layer that's going to have the fill. Make sure you switch to white, and we're going to go ahead and click the bucket tool and fill it. So once we make the background invisible, this is what we get. And there you have it. That is the outline. And you can take it out and zoom out. There you go. That's still a little bit too big. Here we go. So that's more or less how it will look in the game. And now that you're done, you can go ahead and save it, which you can do with either Control S to get the save window, or you can come to File, Save, and you will get the same options. Alright, now that we have the open gate, let's go ahead and create the close gate. So we're gonna go File, New, once again, 32 by 32. Our background color is black, so we can actually go ahead and select that a little bit differently. So let's click on the black background and let's make it white, simply because it's going to make it easy for us to see the details that we want to see. Now once again, you get the screen. We want to zoom in until we get a distance. That was way too big. So in case you wonder how I'm zooming out, you can hold the control key and it will switch between zoom in and zoom out, or you can find in your tools and select zoom in or zoom out. So again, we're going to be working on separate layers for everything, so we're going to click on new. Make sure you have layer fill type as transparency, because we want these guys to be see-through. And now we could go ahead and repeat the same steps that we did for the previous gates. I suggest you go ahead and do it. It's good to have the practice. However, I'm going to be a little bit lazy, and I want to go back to the file that we created. And remember how we separated everything into layers? Well, I'm going to select that layer, and I'm going to go into select all and edit copy. And I'm going to copy that entire content. And I'm just going to come over to our new layer and I'm going to paste it. So now you can either do that with Control V, or you can go once again, edit and paste. And now we have our line. Now if you notice, this layer appears to be a flooring layer, flooring selection. So you can either create a new layer and it will automatically appear on it, or you can simply just land it on top of this one. Since we already have one there, let's go ahead and do that. Click, and you see how the little anchor appears. Let's just press it, and now we have our outline ready. Now let's go ahead and select one for the interior, much like we did for the other one. And once again, we're going to select the magic wand. So we're going to select the fuzzy select tool over here, and we're going to only select the interior. So make sure that you're selecting the outline layer right here, and you click with the magic wand, and now if you see, you have only selected the inside. We're going to come down here and we're going to paint the background. Now let's go back to the picture that we have to make sure that we have the exact same colors, because we like to replicate them. And let's get rid of that selection for a second. Here we go, and now we have the selection. We have the color that we need or we would like. For those of you watching, the color is 237 for red, 151 for green, and 39 for blue. So let's go ahead and select the bucket fill tool and simply click. Now so far, if you notice, it's looking very much like the other one that we did, but this closed gate has some details that we're gonna work on. So if you notice, we got these little guys right here. If you want to be specific, those guys are 4x4, So those are 4 pixels by 4 pixels. So let's go ahead once again, since we're going to be adding details, let's add a new layer so we can work on the details on that new layer and none of the ones that we have. It helps to kind of name them little by little, so we're going to call in details for this layer, so then we know once we're looking at them. So let's go ahead and click outside so we can get rid of that selection. And we have 4 by 4. Here we go. Now, if you notice, we are using a combination of darker with a little bit less dark, and then an extremely white, lighter color. With that, we're gonna create the idea of shading and lining a little bit on this gate. Let's go ahead and begin with a dark color. So get the exact one, and we're gonna come back here. Now the color for the darker that I picked was 142, 80, and 0. So now that we have that, we can simply use the bucket fill tool and fill it. Again, make sure you're working on the details layer only, just in case we make a mistake. Now the rectangle tool, let's click on it and move this selection. So make sure you select it, you click on it, and now we're gonna move a little bit around so that we can displace it, and there should be okay. Once again, we're going to select the fill tool and make a new one. Now, one is its thing, if you get tired of going back and forth between these guys, some easy shortcuts are you can press R, so you can now go back and have the selection tool and move around, and you can do also Shift B to do the bucket tool. So let's go ahead and make use of those, move our selection a little bit around, Shift B again, fill it up, R, select that selection, and Shift B, so we have it. Now, the next step, we want to add the details to this layer. We want to have a little bit of a lighter color, so let's go ahead and pick the lighter color first, and then we're going to finish up with the center. So let's go ahead over here, and we're going to select the pencil tool once again. Make sure that your pencil tool is out of 1 pixel width, so that you don't get any bigger than that. And what you want to do also, you see how we have that selection there? Let's make sure we get rid of it. So click R, select, make sure you have no other selections, because otherwise you can only affect that selected area, which is very nice when you're getting into details, but for this one we want to be able to draw all over the place. So let's go ahead and select it. Once again, Shift to draw 3 straight lines for our gate. Here we go. And we are leaving this outline right there because it's going to be a darker edge. So let's repeat the process. Again, you could have simply created one of these guys and then copy and paste it all over your layer. Sometimes I find that when you're getting started that practice makes perfect, so it helps to do them over and over again, so it becomes a habit. It's not nice to cut corners when you're just learning. Finally, we're going to go ahead and select the color that is on the inside. Again, we're going to go with the color picker tool, get the center one, and we are going to draw it now. For those of you out there, the color is 213, 149, and 65. So let's go ahead and use the selection tool here. Let's select our squares, and once again, bucket fill. We're gonna paint our entire thing. R to move around, bucket fill to color, R selected, Shift B for the bucket tool, R for the selection tool, and I lost it. You can always do Control Z if you lose your selection to bring it back out. That's something I really like about GIMP. There you go. There you have your door. Zoom out just to be sure that it looks nice, 100%, and now we have the gate for our game. Again, don't forget to save it. As you save it, you go to File, Save. It's always nice to keep the game file in case you always want to make modifications, but once you're done with your modifications and you're ready to export them into a format for your game, you can go ahead under File, Export to, and just export it to whatever format you like. I suggest PNG since it gives transparency. So go ahead and you can go ahead and export it. And that's it for the two gates. Hopefully you liked it.